Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another episode of Macro Mondays. Is the bottom in? That is the key question everyone is wondering. That is the $1,000,000 question. Is the bottom in? Are we talking about crypto? Are we talking about TradFi? What are we talking about? Are we talking about the dollar? For now, we're talking about Bitcoin and the stock market. So right now, Bitcoin's looking really good in my opinion. I think there's a good chance that the bottom is in. We are long on Bitcoin, obviously, from this zone over here, preempting the breakouts. And the last level to get through is this 85.5K region. That is the next resistance. We've been battling with it over the weekend, which isn't ideal to battle over the weekend. There's minimal volume. However, there is a good chance that, if we break through this and come test that 93K level, it is going to be looking good for Bitcoin. And the reason why I think it's looking good for Bitcoin is because there's obvious signs that this was a potential bottom. So first of all, if we have the 50% level from the 49K level to the all-time high, that 50% level comes in at 79,600 over here. And we did come and test that nicely over there. And we are above that and looking good. We do have a sign of bullish divergence, obviously creating lower lows in price action and higher lows in the RSI. We have broken out of this daily descending resistance over here. You can see this has been governing price action since the all-time high, which was created in the 20th of January. And we've been extremely patient waiting for a breakout. We drew this trend line, I think around the end of Jan, and we've just been waiting for it to break out here. And we've been very, very, very patient. We've been waiting, I'd say about 2.5 months over here. We've been waiting for the breakout. And in my opinion, it looks like it is a great time to take this risk reward play over here. So obviously we've broken out on price over here. You can see this day over here, bang, broke out. We spoke about it on Friday. We do have bullish divergence coming into that key level over there, but the last level to get above is going to be this EMA cluster, that being the 50 and the 200-day EMA. And if price can get above there and consolidate and make sure this death cross doesn't happen. The death cross is obviously when the 50 crosses below the 200. It is looking tight at the moment. If we do get price to get above here and hold it as support, I can see a push up there, guys. But if we do get above there, I am seeing some kind of consolidation in the zone over here, guys. This will be looking really good. It'll be a market structure shift, which you guys know is very important before going all in. If we break this high over here, coming in at 88,800, 888, that is going to be the magic number to get above, because that means we do have a higher high relative to this over here, higher high, and then the bullish market structure is on, and it is going to be looking good for Bitcoin, guys. Obviously bullish divergence. And what I do like as well is we've been watching this RSI over here. We got a little bit of a fake out over here. Obviously price wasn't above there, so there wasn't the double confluence, so we were patient on this. But what you can see here, guys, is the RSI is poking its head above, and it has taken out this high over here. It is above 50, and it is game on. This is bullish momentum coming back into the market, guys. Over here, bullish divergence off the lows from a key level over there. We basically front ran the March 2024 high over there. That got front run, which often happens in crypto. A lot of people were waiting for this level to get tagged. A lot of people were talking about buying at 73K, 72K, 70K, this zone over here. A lot of people were waiting very, very patiently for that level, and I don't think they're going to get that chance to get back in at that level over there. So for now, I think this green box over here, I'm obviously long already from 81,600. We went long on Friday, front running the breakouts over there. I did see this daily candle. We took out that Wednesday high, and game on, guys, game on. And for now, I am still long from there. Stops are below these lows over here at about 78K. And I am targeting higher prices, guys. And I do see this first level of resistance being hit. And I think it's going to be hit this week, okay? So 92,380, let's call it 92K. And why do I think this is going to be hit? Okay, so the reason why I think it's going to be hit is, one, we do have this breakout over here. We just need to get above the EMAs, as I've said. RSI is looking bullish, and the reason why I'm bullish for a breakout at the moment is because of the news events, guys. This is obviously CryptoCraft. I've filtered everything that isn't a high impact news event, and the only high impact news event for the next 2 weeks is going to be US Fed Chair Powell speaks. Obviously, we're not sure what's going to happen there. Is it going to be bullish? Is it going to be bearish? What I know is often in these periods where there's no high impact news events, a trending move can be ignited. So what I'm seeing here, guys, is daily RSI ticking up. We're on 53 now, potential breakout over here, and no news events to stop the party. This is a potential one to stop the party, but after that, there's a very clear run in. And I'm seeing a bullish March of a bullish month of April, of course, guys. So next level to tag, in my opinion, is this level over here. If we get above the EMAs is obviously very, very, very important to get above the EMAs. Test that as support. We've been struggling underneath the 50 EMA since the start of Feb, and it has been a bit of a warning sign, guys. You can see rejected, 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 rejected over there, rejected, 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 and we are getting rejected at the moment. So this is a very much a bullish, bearish indicator, in my opinion. When the 50 is above the 200, it is game on, guys. So this is game on. It's been game on for this strategy since October 23. We got the bull cross, and we have held the bull cross ever since. Got very scary over here. Remember all the fear in this period over here before we broke up to all-time highs. And remember the fear, all the fear over this past month of March, guys. A lot of fear over here, loads, mega fear over here. Buying the fear is always the best thing to do, and we have opened up some long positions, guys. So that's what I got for Bitcoin over there. We've seen a break through these EMAs, and I am seeing 92K coming faster than we think. And of course, what happens is everyone misses the buying opportunity. Hope you guys remember when we were going mega long in this zone over here. A lot of fear in the market, a lot of fear present, and off we go to the races. And the amount of people that missed this, guys, remember how fast it happens. Remember, don't forget how fast it happens. Look at this. Everyone was doubting the run. Happens extremely fast, guys. There we go, 40% just like that. Everyone misses it. And again, another 40-odd% if I can get my 60% there. So guys, just remember it happens very fast. And that is crypto, guys. That is crypto. Definitely smash the like button. Of course, smash the like button. We are here weekly giving you crypto TA. And if you are new to the channel, definitely subscribe. But I appreciate that. Appreciate that. The analysis is, it's always consistent, guys. I just stick to my guns. I stick to what I know. I stick to the same technical analysis, and it has been working this cycle. So I'm glad you guys have been enjoying the journey thus far. Obviously ups and downs, but that is the crypto market. I've also opened up an Ethereum long. I'm going to speak about that long now. But let's get into the TradFi. Obviously, I'm mainly sticking to Bitcoin because, you know, we are at an uncertain period here. You know, are we going to get rejected off here? If Bitcoin gets rejected, you do expect the rest of the crypto markets to go down with it. And it looks like we are starting to make some kind of push up into that 50-day EMA today. But let's get straight into the TradFi because the DXY is looking bearish, guys. We have lost these range lows, of course, so we are expecting further downside. And I don't know if you guys were watching, but we've absolutely nailed this. What we did call was for a bearish divergence, deviation, and what happens is when you get a deviation is you come to the bottom of the range. So here we go, big deviation. This looks like the inverse Solana chart, which we're going to have a look at now. Guys, deviation over there, target was the bottom side of the range. And the reason we were bullish in Feb waiting for the breakout is because the dollar was falling. And we know that the DXY is inversely correlated to crypto and risk on assets. So when the dollar is falling, everything priced against the dollar, BTC, USD, if the dollar is falling, you would expect the Bitcoin and risk on assets that are priced against the dollar to increase. So basically a falling dollar means a tailwind for risk on assets. And of course, tariff this, tariff that, and all the bad news, everyone getting scared. That has, you know, obviously put a bit of a stop to the bullish momentum in the stock market, but we are expecting further continuation. So what I'm seeing here for the DXY, which is of course very important to have a look at, is we have now broken the range low, which we did expect to, you know, be some kind of support. So what I'm expecting now is some kind of pullback over, you know, quarter two, and then we move down. And I was looking for a target or a measured move for the dollar. You know, where is the dollar going? So I took this deviation above the range. I think that's very valid. If we put that over there, we do come down to that 93K level. And I was looking for confluence And that 93K level lines up with this support over here, which I think this is the target for the dollar, if you guys are interested. So there is this support level over here. We lost it, deviated. I think this line's been well respected throughout the DXY's history. So I think this is the target. 93K is the next target. Sorry, not 93K. 93 is the next target for the DXY. And you can expect, you know, a tailwind in risk assets if this does fall. And if you guys are interested in trading Forex pairs, obviously Euro USD would be bullish in a falling dollar environment. So that's what I got for the DXY. It hasn't really been too correlated to stock market and crypto, but it's always important to have a look at. Let's have a look at the S&P futures as well. I was zooming out on this, and obviously we came perfectly into this trend line over here, acting as support, which had that confluence with the 618 Fibonacci coming in at 4,900, the zone over here. And this is looking good, guys. So what we saw was lots of fear coming into an upsloping support and 618. It's the biggest buy signal under the sun, of course. And my strategy is that what we do is we wait for this level to get tagged, the 618, and then once we reclaim the 50% level, which is 5,150 in this scenario, this is when you start going long, guys. So this is obviously a very significant low. So this is why I've got this point marked out. Significant low. This was the peak of the geopolitical tensions over there. We have the all-time high. That's a significant level, of course. From low to the high, 50% level comes in at 5,150. So if the S&P 500 can hold this level, looks like we are getting a death cross, which is a concern. But let's wait and see, guys. This could be, you know, if you are heavily invested in the stock market, this may be a place where, you know, you can take some off the table, you can de-risk a bit, and that lines up with this previous all-time high as well. So 5,700, massive level to watch for the stock market. If we can get above there, then it is game on. But this is looking like it was a major pivot point as support. Looks like it is a low. Bottom is most likely in for the stock market, guys. 20% discount is crazy on the S&P 500. The risk to reward for the S&P 500 at this point was crazy. Obviously, NASDAQ, very similar to the S&P 500, so you're not going to have a look at it. We did get this breakdown instead of the support over there. If we zoom out of it, bang, breakdown over there. That was the red flag, a little bit of a dump. And this was down 26%, guys. Bargain for the NASDAQ, of course. These levels were last seen at the start of last year. So we didn't take out last year's lows, which is a good sign. We came very close. Fear, more fear over here. Great buy signal, in my opinion. So let's get back to the crypto market because we are testing that perfectly as support. So I do think that the bottom is potentially in for Bitcoin. We have spoken in depth about that. And one thing I'm looking at now is Solana, guys. Solana is looking pretty good. So I had this level marked out over here. This was the key zone, this level between 115 and 125, that $10 region over there. Massive support and resistance. Bybit doesn't have all the history, but if we go back in history, it is a important level. And you can see resistance, resistance, resistance. We broke through it and big support. So often what you see when you get a well-respected range and it looks too obvious, what you can expect is a lot of people who have bought Solana would have had their stop losses over here. Obviously, people who are over leveraged, using a lot of leverage, etc., etc. They would have had their stop losses underneath $110, guys. So obviously, massive, massive target for whales. The whales wanted all the retail to cough up their positions, and it was looking scary, guys. It obviously was looking scary. Diamond hands, though, of course. But what we're looking for to go long on Solana again is a deviation. And I was telling you guys that we're looking for something that's inversely like the DXY as well, where you get a deviation above the range and then you do target the other side of the range. So if we look at Solana, we've now deviated this support range over here. And now what we're going to target is the upper levels, of course, guys. So this is looking like the trade. This would be my zone. This 180 zone for Solana would be my target, guys. Definitely an obvious target. Resistance, resistance, resistance. We broke through. Support, support, support. Bang, came up, resistance. So this is the zone, guys. Massive, massive zone over here. This is the target for Solana. If you guys are spot traders, this is a decent place to be getting into Solana. You get a nice 40% there. But we're obviously here for a nice risk to reward leverage trade, and right now the risk to reward on Solana is only 1.7, guys. So this is not a favorable trade. However, the deviation may play out, and we could see a move up there. So we could see something like this. Very likely, in my opinion, that we do see a move up to $180 on Solana. But I wouldn't go long now, because your point of invalidation is going to be underneath, these lows over here. You didn't want to see this. This is just because you got to get quite tight there, of course. This is a risk reward of only 2 to 1. So this is not a favorable trade. So the plan for Solana is we're going to wait for a potential pullback. Okay. Potential pullback. It will be looking like a nice inverse head and shoulders as well. There we go. And that's going to be the trade, guys. This trade over here, that's the price action we are looking for. So we're not going long here. Obviously, we just got rejected off the 50-day EMA. So what we're looking for is a pull down over there. We're going to be buying this green box over there, stops below over there. And this is going to be looking like a great setup for Solana, guys. Trade like that, our stops would go beneath this wick over here. I believe this open over there. I don't think this would get taken out. And if it does, I think we will come and take all the liquidity from out of there. And the target would be that 180 zone. So now, just because we've been patient and we're waiting for obvious signs and symptoms of a breakout, this gives us a risk reward of over 5 to 1. So this is looking like the trade for Solana. The trade is not now. And I think we might get a little pullback over this week. I will show you why. I'll show you right now on the USDT dominance. We'll talk about the ETH breakout and the trade right now. But what I'm seeing here is the USDT dominance, guys. This is on the 4-hour time frame. And what you can see now, it just started breaking down now. Actually, I was thinking that, because this is at a support, we could see a pullback in the crypto market. So obviously, if the USDT dominance does come up, we can see a pullback in the crypto market, guys. So this is why I'm thinking that we could see lower levels potentially. But if I look at it right now, it does look like a breakdown. I'm just going to go to the 1-day time frame. Over here, of course, these EMAs are on the 4-hour, so do ignore that for now. But very, very important week over here, guys. So what you can see, USDT dominance. I'm actually just going to go back to my crypto on the daily over here. And it looks like we have deviated back into this range. This was obviously a trend line that we didn't want to see break. It obviously did break. And it looks like we are deviating back into this, guys. So what I'm seeing is, we could see a bounce up here, pulling crypto back a bit. But it does look like we are breaking this trend line to the downside over here. So very important zone for USDT dominance. It is a bit messy, guys. It is a bit messy. So very important zone here. If we do break down here on the USDT dominance, then I can see a nice pump for crypto. And if we do break down and get that perfect retest, then that is going to be the zone where we are going to be aping in to those shorts. The target and the stop loss, which trade is this for, my man? Which trade is this for? So guys, definitely keep an eye out on this level. If we do get a nice bullish move on Bitcoin, which looks like it is the case at the moment, nice little breakout over here. We do want to see price action above here. If we take out Sunday's highs, I do think we can go decently high up here, guys. And my target, you guys know my target is my short-term target, 92.4K. That is the zone where I do think we can see Bitcoin. Looks like we are above that EMA. So let's see how it reacts here, guys. It is, of course, a Monday, not the best day for trading. You often get false moves on a Monday. But let's wait and see, guys. Let's wait and see. We are long. Let's get into that Ethereum trade over here. Let's go onto the 4-hour time frame. And this is the Ethereum trade, of course, guys. So I did see this breakout. I posted this over here. I said, hey, we're going to front run this breakout. And what you can see here is we have broken out. Boom, we broke out. We came back on the time frames and we got a perfect retest. Now I am seeing a move up, guys. This is a move to the upside. And my target for Ethereum is going to be obviously this EMA over here. We will most likely see that EMA be tagged right now. We haven't seen it been tagged since January. So we are in a serious downtrend. So this will likely get tagged at some point. And what you can do is you can easily take a trade from here. This is a solid breakout trade. Your stop loss would go over here. This is the next higher low in the pennant. And my target for this pennant breakout will be, well, that's the measured move. We've broken out from there. So my target is the zone over here, 1,960. And with my marker over there, boom, that is my target at the moment. And right now there's a 2.3 risk to reward. We did take it from about over here, giving us a perfect 3-to-1 risk to reward. So we are in that trade, guys. This trade is looking good. Let's wait and see what happens. I do want to see a break, like a clean break of the zone over here. And I think we will be going off. This is the zone to get above, guys. If we can break above the zone, which looks like we are going to do right now, bang, I do see a very quick move into this 1,750, obviously being this candle low over here and a low over there. Then I am seeing a rejection and then play out the rest of the move, something like that, guys. So that's what I'm seeing for Ethereum, guys. And you can easily be patient and wait for this trade. If the bottom is in, then this would be a great trade, guys. Wait for the move up, the rejection, be buyers of this level over here, and you can easily get into a 10x swing trade, looking for much higher levels for Ethereum, of course. But for now, it is in a serious downtrend, and we are going to have to wait and see. Okay, what else do we have to talk about today? I've got we are still in that XRP trade as well. Let's go into the daily time frame for that one. So we are in the XRP trade. So this was the trade. We were waiting for a reclaim of the 200-day EMA because we did lose the 200-day EMA over here. We lost it. We were looking for a nice bounce off this level over here. We're waiting very patiently for that 50% level to get tested. And that 50% level is basically from the all-time lows to the all-time highs. At a halfway point coming in over here at $1.74. We got that level over there. Then you have to wait for the reclaim of the 200-day EMA, guys. Very important because we can lose the 200-day EMA, test it as resistance, and roll over. So you waited for a reclaim of the 200-day EMA, which is exactly what we got over there. And we did take a long in the zone over here. Bang. Obviously got rejected off the 50-day EMA. But the first target for XRP is this $2.50 zone over there. First target, of course, will be taking some profits over there, move stop loss to break even. And this is a very solid trade, guys. I think, XRP to all-time highs definitely can happen. And I do think this is looking like a solid trade. So that is the XRP update. I do like the 200-day EMA, test it as support, 1-2 days, and then off we go over there, guys. Off we go. What else? Okay, have a look at Ondo as well, because Ondo is starting to make a little rally up. This is our trade on Ondo. We have taken this trade. Of course, let me zoom in a bit for you guys. I did say, hey guys, there is a massive Ondo breakout over here. You can see Ondo breakout, downsloping resistance. We broke out last week, Friday, and this is when I got into the trade. I did get in over there, basically into resistance, into obvious resistance. The best trade would have been there, but in my opinion, Ondo is a great buy. And if you had to take this trade back to all-time highs, the risk to reward is basically 5-to-1, which is massive, guys. It is massive. Is the Ondo bottom in my opinion? Yes, bullish divergence. RSI has broken out. Price has broken out. And again, the same as Bitcoin, we just need to get above these important EMAs. But is the bottom in for Ondo? Maybe, maybe not. If we get above this 96-cent zone, guys, 96 cents, you can see massive SR flip over there. Then it was support, 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 resistance. So we are longing into resistance, but this is a macro trade, guys. This is not a scalp trade. So this bet is basically saying, well, the Ondo bottom is in, so let's take the trade or the bet that Ondo's bottom is in. If the bottom is in, we did catch basically the bottom zone, of course, and the signs and symptoms are there, guys. Price breakout, RSI breakout, and there's nothing more there's no more reason to take the long. It's a good long, guys. It's a good long, and the market is starting to move up a bit. Nice green day for the market, and I'm expecting continuation due to there being no real news events besides the one on Wednesday, guys. This is continuation. territory, guys, continuation territory. If we can close 2 or 3 daily candles for Bitcoin above the EMAs, I think the market's going to run up, and it's going to run up very fast, guys. So look at some altcoin requests. I haven't done any altcoin requests in a while. Okay, good TP levels for WIF. Can have a look at WIF, of course. Here we go, 45 cents. This was an old trade, which hasn't been stopped out, but I'm going to get rid of this for that. WIF. Okay, well, WIF's RSI isn't that above 50, which is not a bad idea. You do have a bit of a daily breakout. We're still waiting for that breakout over there. You know, this was a massive level, and we are running into it as resistance. But if you are a swing trader, if you have bought WIF spot or swing trade, I would look at this low over here, 81 cents, guys. If we do break out here, you can look at a move up to that 81 cents level over here. Bang, a lot of liquidity, a lot of people going short, short, short. That's where your stop loss would be. And you can see a little short squeeze on WIF, guys. But I'm not focusing too much on the altcoins. I'm focusing more on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin makes a solid break and solid move up, obviously everything's going to pop. If Bitcoin does get rejected off the EMAs, which, you know, there's obviously a high chance of happening if Bitcoin gets rejected here. Well, we've been rejected there for a while. Rejected, 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 rejected. So you do expect this to be rejected, guys. So if we do get above this, you will expect the rest of the market to erupt, guys. The rest of the market will rip to the upside. Okay, let's have a little market scan. I did see this dumped, which was crazy. Luckily, we did fully exit out of this. Whoa, crazy. Yeah, this was one of the trades. You know, I got in at the zone over here, and we fully got out. You know, we didn't sell the all-time high, but we did sell relatively high, but way above this, of course. Is this a good buying opportunity? Well, this doesn't look good. Doesn't look good at all. You know, 80% in a day, went down 93% in a day, and that is crazy, guys. This is what happens at the end of the bull run. You know, like a lot of these tokens will do this. That could be, you know, are insiders selling. Why did this happen? If anyone knows why this actually happened, do let me know. Let's have a look at Arweave, because there is an altcoin request for that. Boom. Yo, $5.50 Arweave. Crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. I've been focusing mainly on Bitcoin and the blue chips, guys. So, you know, Arweave, I'd be waiting for at least a breakout. So, you know, what you want to see to get long is most likely just a break of this 26th of March highs. So, you know, most tokens would have made a little local high at that 25th of March zone. So what you want to see is basically a break above and then a push to the upside. That is what we would be waiting for. Yeah, massive, massive, massive move to the downside from Arweave as well. 90%. This is like some bear market stuff over here. But crazy. Speaking about that, let's have a look at Bitcoin dominance, because, you know, are we even going to top on this, guys? We're waiting very, very patiently for this over here. This was potentially going to be a topping zone because the Bitcoin maxis were very loud over here. You know, they aren't that much up from the zone, you know, 1% or 2%, of course. But the key level to watch for this is going to be this trend line over here, guys. So this is what we're waiting for. We are waiting for a move to the downside, retest it as resistance, and then move to the downside for Bitcoin dominance. And this is when altcoins will start to pop, of course. And, you know, zooming out on the Bitcoin dominance, I've been speaking about this for a while, this is why I don't think the top is in, guys, because we do need to see Bitcoin dominance come to these bottom levels for a top to be in. So this is why I still have conviction in the cycle. This is why I'm still in my blue chips, and I'm still waiting for a blow of top. It happens every time. Was this the blow off top? It's hard to believe that it was. But, you know, my minimum targets for Bitcoin dominance for a top to be in would be a 51.6%. That's going to be the 50% level of this. This was the low in this cycle to the all-time high. We should see a 50% retest. So this would be my bearish case for altcoins outperforming Bitcoin. And my bullish case would be 42%. And this is obviously rising because it is upsurfing support. But if we do see this in Q1 of 2026 or Q4 of 2025, let's just draw that out. Q4 in the zone over here, bang. So you can expect, or I'm expecting this zone over here to be tagged, or this zone over here. We'll have to see, guys. Obviously, in times of like global conflict, you do see things like gold and Bitcoin obviously being more valuable than speculative technology. Often happens, guys. Are there any more altcoin requests, guys? Any more altcoin requests? Otherwise, guys, we are keeping it simple. Of course, we are waiting for Bitcoin. It looks like it is getting a rejection for now from that level. Let's put this on the daily. Looks like we are getting a rejection, which is expected from the EMAs. We've been rejected the whole time. I remain long. If you guys are still looking to get into the Bitcoin long, I think, you know, if we do come down, grab the liquidity. Let's have a look at high block capital quickly. Because if we look on the very low time frame and just zoom in, look where the liquidity is. So this is telling us, you know, between 81.6, where my long is from, and 83.3, there is liquidity there. So 83.3, that's basically underneath 83.3. This zone over here. So basically getting underneath the weekend price action, very, very likely to happen. Come and test the zone over here. That is where your liquidity is going to be. So a long out of here would make sense. A lot of people would have their stop losses there, and you just, you know, buy their stop loss. And if you look on this time frame over here, I did notice there was some liquidity forming at that 86K level over there. Otherwise, liquidity to the bottom at 74K. That obviously be the sweep of the lows. And what I'm liking is the higher term time frame. Obviously, this one has the strongest magnet. There is quite a lot of liquidity over here at 91K. So I am seeing a push to the upside. I do think this should be grabbed. Will this be grabbed and then we'll roll over? I'm not too sure. But that lines up perfectly with these highs over here. So this zone over here, liquidity here as well. So, you know, are we going to form a range? You know, I do see if the RSI does hold this level and we do get a nice retest, get out of this pen mode. You know, if we do come down and hold this level as support and the RSI holds that 50 level as well, then I do see a nice move up there, guys. And this will be that nice risk to reward that you guys are looking for. And if this is the move to all-time highs, the risk reward is looking good. And at least to there, that gives us a 1.5 to 1 and a nice 4 to 1 to all-time highs, guys. So this is looking like a decent trade in my opinion. And obviously we're just betting at the bottoms in. That's basically the bet. But guys, thanks so much for joining the stream. Hope you guys got some good knowledge and market understanding there. You know, we are expecting a rejection from these EMAs. Let's see if this level holds. I think good risk to reward at the moment. But we'll see you guys next week. Cheers later this week. Sorry. Cheers for now.